What can we learn from the YouTube algorithm? How does it actually work? And why is this super, super relevant for everyday life, especially for business? And this video is very relevant if you are a YouTuber, if you are actually in social media, but it's almost even more relevant if you have a business because it teaches you so well in how stuff actually works. And if you have ever checked out the new dashboard on YouTube, it's still in beta, but it's really, really good actually. You see in analytics, you see actually how the YouTube algorithm works. And it actually has 3 steps. You might have seen this looking like this. You have the YouTube algorithm, and you have at the very top, you have impressions. Then you have views. And at the very, very bottom, you have watch time. And you have something called click-through rate. This is how many impressions actually turn into views. Now, why is this really relevant? So let's kind of walk this through. Let's walk those 3 steps through and think about how can you get the maximum views? How can you get your YouTube algorithm, your views to grow? And the reason I want to make this video is because on my German channel, now I understand my English channel is very new. It's just a couple of weeks old and we're growing it. But in English, in German, we have one of the largest crypto channels globally. And this, even though in Germany or in German speaking, we have around 100 million compared to billions of people who speak English. And I received a lot of questions from international YouTubers who said, Julian, how do you do it that your views, your view numbers are so high compared to us, even though we are English? And this actually comes from me having a lot of discussions with some really, really large YouTubers, millions of followers, in kind of understanding how does this actually work and how would this go and what are the key things to take away from this. And so I want to give you a couple of things here because it is really, really essential. The most important thing, and that's step 1, is you need to have a very clear topic that you discuss and that you talk about. And in my case, it's mostly blockchain, cryptocurrencies. Yes, it's every once in a while, it's about entrepreneurship and mindset. You kind of notice, right? So you want to have this really good niche. And here's the trick. Many people start this niche way too broad. So they start with finance or they start with cryptocurrencies, and that's way too broad. So you need to have a very, very good niche so that YouTube knows, let's say you only talk about a certain cryptocurrency. Then they know, well, you always speak about this one cryptocurrency and I can show this video to all the other people. And this is basically where all these impressions come from. So if you have a really, really, really good topic, then it's easy for YouTube to show your video to a certain group of people. And this applies to anything. So if you're starting out new, very important, pick a niche so that YouTube knows who to show a video to, impressions. But now comes something that's very important, and that's click-through rate, CTR. Because these impressions need to turn into views. Now, what does this mean? It means if a user sees these little thumbnails on YouTube, what YouTube wants is that the people click on the thumbnail and actually watch the video, so turn into a view. And this is now where it's really, really important. You need to have very catchy headlines, and you need to have really good thumbnails. And this is where it gets key, because this is obviously a gray area between being a clickbait and being actually solid and delivering value. But like really, we have seen this in the numbers, we've seen this in the statistics, and generally speaking, a click-through rate of 7% or higher is what's outstanding. And we have been testing a lot with thumbnails and with titles and headlines, and we really see what turns views, impressions into views. And you need to go a little bit clickbaity. Don't go clickbait in not delivering value, but you need to have really salesy good headlines. And you need to have really good thumbnails, because only then your impressions turn into views. And now comes the last part, and that is when people are in the video, what's the final key metric, and that is a really key metric, is the total watch time. And the total watch time depends obviously on how good your video is. It depends a lot of things in the video. It depends when is the high point in your video, when are you gonna resolve certain problems in the video, how long do people stay, and that's basically the quality of the video. So if you have a lot of impressions and a really good click-through rate because you're salesy, but then your video sucks and people drop off after 15 seconds, you get penalized heavily and YouTube doesn't show your videos to anyone anymore. So that is a really, really key part. And this also shows, well, you want to have a YouTube length. So the ideal scenario is that people stay in your video at least 7 to 8 minutes. So probably your video length should be 10 to 12 minutes. That's approximately. But so that's the key part. And the major mistakes that people do is they think about making the best video ever, but they're not thinking about, well, how can I actually, what should be the title? What should be the thumbnail? And they pick really bad ones there. And then what happens is they have this really amazing video and no one watches it. Why? Because there's no click-through rate. People don't go onto the video and they don't care. Or you don't have any clear niche. And this obviously hurts in people not being, or YouTube not being able to show this to to other people. Now, obviously it helps if you can create external clicks into the video. So it helps to have some subscribers. But actually subscribers are not the key part as much anymore because YouTube is very selective who it shows some videos to. So obviously, please subscribe to my channel. That would really help. Do some upvotes, do the thumbs up. It's not the key part, but it's still relevant for YouTube, but it's not the key. It's not the major cake. The biggest share of the cake is show impressions, have a good click-through rate, and then how long do people stay on your video? Obviously, if you have external traffic through Facebook groups and so on, helps, but it's not the key part for the YouTube algorithm to start pushing the video to people so they can see it. And this is basically the major lesson. If you're a YouTuber and you want to grow, pick a very, very good niche. Have very good headlines, very good thumbnails, and then obviously you want to have videos that people watch and that people stay. But so now you might be watching this and you're like, I'm not a YouTuber. Why should I care? Now, let me use the same kind of algo for business, for everyday life. And here it looks like this. We have an avatar. We're going to discuss what this is. We have what's called branding or awareness. And at the very end, we have the actual product. Now, why is this relevant? The reason this is so relevant is because most people start with the product first. And then afterwards, they try to find people because they're like, man, I need to sell this product to someone, but they can't find anyone. And then at some point, they spend a lot of money and they can't find anyone. And then at some point, well, they find the person finally, but they really lack the awareness and they waste a lot of money and a lot of energy. And so the key thing, so what can you learn from the YouTube algorithm for everyday life, for business? It always starts with an avatar. It starts with one major problem that people have, a very clear problem. And this clear problem has to be solved. It doesn't start with the product first. It doesn't start with marketing. It starts with a very clear product, a very clear avatar. An avatar just means what is the major problem that you want to solve? What is this very clear problem? Think about this all the time. And whatever business you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to sell, think about this problem that you want to solve. And now here's the major mistake that most people do. Most people now jump from there to the product. And they create this product. And I've seen this over and over and over again. I've had business partners who believe this is the right way to do it. And then they all fail. And I'm sure you have seen this as well. If you create the product, people are not going to buy it. People don't care. Why? Because it's lacking awareness. It's lacking the branding. If you have a problem, a product, an idea for it, you need to go to the next layer. The next layer is you want to have really good branding, a good reputation, good marketing, good awareness for this problem. And only then you can go to the product. If you go to the product first, people are not going to use it. The best companies out there have some of the best branding, the best marketing, the best reputation, because they know you have a problem. I'm going to tell you about me having a solution. And I'm going to be very aggressive about it. I'm going to be very, very productive about it. And only then I'm going to give you the product. And now judge me on the product. And most people think that these companies out there that they're using, they're not doing a good job on this because all they care about is the product. But how did you ever find out about the product? You found out about it because they solved one problem. And they had really aggressive marketing, very, very good branding. And only at the end, they had really, 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 really a good product. So if you're someone who has been trying to sell something, trying to build something, trying to create something, but you've always been struggling in finding someone to buy it from you. That's the reason why. You started with the product. You didn't start with the avatar. You then maybe skipped the branding and the marketing, and you skipped down to the very bottom to creating a product first. Now, obviously, if you never have a product, it's a scam, right? If you look for a problem, then you're trying to create a lot of awareness, and then you never create a product. You're scamming people. So don't do that either. But that's actually rarer. What I see way more often is people shying away from doing aggressive marketing, doing aggressive branding. Trust me, it's the key to actually get people to the product. If you're someone who is a product creator and you've been struggling with this, you need to step up your game there. Very, very important. And YouTube is teaching it to so many people. Now, I know my YouTube audience is not the largest in the world, don't get me wrong, but I also have a very clear niche, right? And so one thing we're also trying to figure out is how can we increase this niche right now, right? How can we go from crypto and add step-by-step other things in there? This makes sense, right? So it's not, but the niche that we have, we're dominating this niche. And globally, we have one of the largest channels in the world, even though we only have Germany as a niche. But that is, I want to kind of explain that to you, and I hope you understand that. If you like this stuff, please thumbs up. The YouTube algorithm still kind of honors that. Subscribe to the channel, click the little bell button. That's all really, really important. Don't judge me on my YouTube thumbnails because they are all there in this entire funnel. Judge me on the quality of the video. On everything else, don't judge my marketing, don't judge my branding, judge the quality of the product. At the end, that's always the most important, but don't judge the rest. The rest is just a means to get you to use the product or to use the service. I hope that's also clear. With this, I hope I see you at the next video. I'm going to look into the chat really briefly. And yeah, otherwise, I'll see you next time. Yours truly, Julian.